Hi, good morning. It's Jackie again. And I debated on yesterday what I wanted to talk about today. And then I decided that I need to bring this up. Yeah, there's like a bright light. Let me go this way a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit better. So this is what we're going to talk about today. It's going to call Let's Just Go There. All right, so on this segment of Let's Just Go There today, we're going to talk about flat earth. And you're probably going to say, okay, I'm going to turn this off. Hold on a second before you turn it off. Hear me out a second. What I want to state is, does it really matter? If this earth was flat, does it matter? What difference does it make if it's flat, if it's round, if it's a triangle, if it's a square? What difference does it really make? It's not like any of us are going to be able to change it the way that we want it to be or the way we think it should be. So this cat is being hyper, so we're going to just throw her over there a second. That's why I don't want her to knock the tablet down. I've had cats do that to me before when I've made a video. So we're going to see some documentation as we're doing our research that's going to prove things to make us believe that the earth could possibly be flat. Then you're going to see documentation that people have showing you that the earth is round. But regardless, at the end of the debate, you live on this planet. Does it make you upset enough to find out that the earth is flat or the earth is round, bad enough that you're going to pack your bags and leave? Can you leave? Where would you go? So this is the point I'm trying to make. Instead of fighting and bickering on all these other platforms, when someone shows you proof that the earth is flat, and you're like, no, the earth is round, we've already seen it, why argue? It doesn't make any difference. It's not going to change whether the earth is flat or round. The earth is what it is. Now, what I will tell you, I believe, is that the earth is probably a lot bigger than what we even imagined. That, I think, is what people don't want to talk about. That we're not as small and compact as we think we are. Now, does this mean that if the earth is a lot bigger, that it would take ages before we found this bend or this loop? I don't know. At this point, I find everything interesting and I listen to both sides and I weigh both sides. But at the end of the day, this is where I live until I die. But I got to thinking, what if this planet is bigger? And what if beyond Antarctica are other islands and other continents where other beings live? Now, we're going to go, because this is going to be, let's just put it out there, let's just talk about it. What if there are such things as other beings from supposedly other planets? And some people are going to say, no, it's only humans, we're the only thing that exists, we're the only things. Well, didn't God make angels? Didn't God make angels first? So we're not the only beings, are we? If you want to look at it as a religious point of view or a spiritual point of view, they're angels. Now, I can go through on my Telegram page, and I've done it before, is break down the different types of angels and what each angel is responsible for. Then you can't say that there's only humans. We know there's angels. And angels were before us. Now, you're going to say, okay, I can accept that. Now, let's say that with these different types of angels, they look different. And let's say that they do come here and they visit. Let's just say it. And maybe you take it that they come on a spaceship from a different planet. Would that not make them an alien? Would that not make them the man from Mars or something? I think there's always more to a story. So instead of arguing and fighting and saying there's no such thing as aliens, but you believe in angels, is it possible that some of these angels could be what we consider aliens? Or aliens could possibly be angels? I don't know. I'm not trying to tell you either way. I'm trying to stop arguments. I'm trying to make you think outside of a box. I see people bickering and fighting and who's got to be right. Does it really matter that you're right? Does it really matter that you've got to prove that this person's wrong? What, honestly, are you getting out of it? Justification? Is someone mailing you a first prize trophy? Are you winning the big lottery because you're right? Do you get to wear a badge of honor and have a parade in your honor because you're right, because you argued with someone? Now, maybe some people in the room are clapping and cheering you on and you feel like you have this power. Well, does that make you any different than the bad people? What do you think they do? They do it for power. They do it for people to praise them and suck their toes. Is that what you're looking for? Then you're no better than the bad guys. Be honest with you. And there's people I can name people that do this stuff. Get in these big confrontations with other people, arguing with them, swearing up and down that they're wrong. But what if you're wrong? Just what if? What if you're the one that's wrong? What are you going to do in the end? Are you going to go back? Are you going to apologize to other people? Are you going to say, I'm sorry? Are you going to feel stupid? Are you going to kill yourself? What are you going to do with all your trophies and your badge of honors? What are you going to do about all those past parades? Are you going to hold them a parade? Are you going to give them a badge of honor? Period. What I'm getting at is, it doesn't make a damn difference if the earth is round or if it's flat. At this point in time, it doesn't matter. The point that matters is, if it is one or the other, there should be no arguing about it being the opposite. So that tells me there's something more to the story. And that concerns me. I don't understand why bad guys would take and say, when the earth was said it was flat in the beginning, say it's round, and then argue with people that go back to saying the earth is flat. What control does that have? I don't understand. Maybe someone can tell me. What purpose does it give them that if the earth is round? Is it better so you won't go certain places? Is it better so you think that there's nothing else on this planet so you won't want to explore? Is that the reason that they say the earth is round? I don't know. That's what bothers me. I could care less if the planet is round because I've lived my whole life being taught that. And I've seen some really good videos. And I'm not talking about anything that Phil's put out. I'm talking about things that I've looked on my own before I even knew who he was. That I was like, aha, that is cool, because that's a possibility. That makes sense to me. But it doesn't matter. I can't go anywhere. I can't leave. Damn it, I thought the earth was round. Now it's flat. I gotta go. Where are you gonna go? So that's the point I'm getting at. Why do you want to argue with people if they think the earth is flat? Why do you want to argue with someone if they think the earth is round? Does it matter to you that much, regardless? And it shouldn't. Because if this is the only thing that matters to you, you've got issues. You've got some serious issues. There's so many other things that you need to be concentrating on. Regardless if the planet is Earth or round, should be the last thing that should keep you up at night. Are you alive? Are you breathing? Do you have a roof over your head? Is your health okay? I know nobody is perfect right now, but are you okay? Then that should be the only concern right now that you have. And I think if people quit fighting over stupid stuff, You will find that you will be much happier. I think you will notice that you will sleep better. And I think that you will notice more people will want to talk to you. Now, granted, there are some people out here who are very extreme. So let's talk about some of these things that they discuss, and let's logically try to figure out why they would even think these things, because that's what we're going to do. We're just going to talk about this stuff. We're just going to put it out there. Okay? I'm not saying that it's true or not true. We're just going to be logically thinking. And I know I'm not right on everything, because I'm not going to know everything until I die, and I don't see myself dying for a while. So we're just going to be logical right now. All right. Someone says there's a such thing as a Bigfoot. Well, this much I will tell you. I went in the FBI files, and they have a file on Bigfoot. So why would the FBI even open up an investigation on a make-believe mystical being? Why would they? I thought the FBI was checking on crimes. So why does the FBI need to do that? That's the first question you should ask. Now, regardless of the fact if it's real or not, why does the FBI need to know? Were they going to arrest him? Are they going to capture him and make him pay taxes? I mean, if that's the case, why aren't the IRS out there looking for the damn Bigfoot? Does it really matter? Are you being harassed by Bigfoot? Are you? Well, if you're not, then does it matter if someone believes it's real or not? Did you believe in Santa Claus at one time? Did you teach your children to believe in Santa Claus? Well, if you're getting mad at people who believe in Bigfoot and are teaching other people that Bigfoot exists, but yet you teach your children to believe in Santa Claus, you're a hypocrite. So shut up. Just shut up. Do you tell your children to put a quarter or a 50-cent piece underneath their pillow when they lose a tooth so the tooth fairy can come? When we all know you're the one putting the tooth under to get the quarter or the 50-cent piece. Ah! And yet you're mad at somebody because they believe in Bigfoot. You're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. Stop it. Stop it. Do you see where I'm getting? Because everybody that now picks on someone who believes in Bigfoot, I'm going to pull that out on you. I'm going to say, well, do you teach your children the Tooth Fairy? Do you teach your children about Santa Claus? What about the Easter Bunny? How many of you go outside on Easter Sunday and hide eggs so your children and grandchildren can find them and say the Easter Bunny was in the yard laying them? How many of you? And yet you pick on people who believe in Bigfoot. Hypocrite. Hypocrite. No, don't tell me it has something to do with religion and it's helping children believe in God. Don't tell me that. What if Bigfoot was carrying a holy Bible? Someone said, I saw Bigfoot carrying a Bible and he was preaching to the other big feet. What would be the difference? What is the difference? Why does it matter? So why do you have to fight? Why? Why do you have to be the one that says it's impossible? Why? When you're doing exactly what I just said you're doing with Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and the Tooth Fairy. Why? I'm waiting. I don't hear anything. That's because you're a hypocrite. Stop it. Stop it. Now, let's just talk about if the possibility of Bigfoot was real. And you're going to say, well, no one can find him. We can't find his home. We've never found a body. We should see them. They should be really out there more. Well, how many times do you see wolves all the time? How many times do you see, what's another animal that kind of stays hid a lot? Oh, I can't think of one. It'll pop into my head later. But there are many animals that are out there in the woods. You see them every now and then, but you don't see them all the time. And it's kind of rare when you do get to see them. So what if Bigfoot is the same way? Maybe he doesn't want to be found. Maybe he hides very well. Maybe he blends in. Maybe he stands next to a tree. And you think, God, there's something wrong with that tree. And you just keep on driving. Maybe that was a Bigfoot. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, you can't say that they don't exist, and you can't say that they do exist. And if someone has actually seen one, then they've seen one. And you weren't there with them to say what they saw. You don't live in here. So quit picking on people when they talk about Bigfoot. Because there's a possibility that Bigfoot goes through portals. And I just said that if this planet is a lot bigger than what we imagine, then there are probably many places that a Bigfoot could hide. And maybe he does jump from area to area. Maybe he opens up a portal. Now you're going to say, well, there's no such thing as portals, Jackie. Well, that's up to you. I'm thinking logically. I'm putting some ideas out there. Okay, let's talk about the Mothman. Now, if you live in that area where that bridge fell and all those people died, and you talk to people that have seen them in their yards, and I've looked up the stories are pretty scary and creepy. But you'll say, well, we don't see the Mothman. Well, anytime you do see the Mothman, what happens? Something bad happens. It's like the angel of death almost. What if that is the angel of death? Maybe he's the angel of death and we just call him the Mothman. I don't know. But you can't say he doesn't exist when there's people that have actually seen it. You can't say it. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And do you really want to see him? Do you really want to get face to face with a Mothman? Do you really want to get face to face with a Bigfoot? I don't know. I don't. I have no intention of ever meeting the Mothman. Never want to meet the Mothman. And I've heard some really horrifying stories about people that have come across where they've seen a Mothman, animals dying, to being followed, to having time freeze. Some really creepy stuff. So what if the Mothman goes to portals? Maybe a certain portal opens up at a certain time, and that's when he comes through. I don't know. I mean, we can go on and on. And like I said with aliens, I mean, you've got people that actually believe that they exist. You've got people that actually believe they talk to them. But because they're not talking to you does not mean they don't exist. It just means that you're not talking to them. And to say whether or not they really are talking to an alien, you don't know. Now, you can say people are crazy, but think about all of the things that we found out here in the last 4 years, in the last 3 years, in the last year, that we would have thought was crazy. And you're like, man, I would have never thought about that in a million years. I can't believe that's true. Okay? So what about these other things? What if they come out to be true? What if? And does it really matter? Is it going to change your life that much if it comes out that Bigfoot really exists, that the Mothman really exists, that aliens really exist, that the earth is flat? Does it really change your life that bad that you either have to just leave or kill yourself? I mean, really, think about it. And why argue with people? I find things that I would have never thought in a million years were possible. Never. There is a video, I've seen 2 separate videos, and one was a little bit more detailed than the other one, where in the Ukraine, they capture Russian soldiers. They had this guy zip-tied with his hands behind his back, laying in the grass. And he couldn't move. And they took a box cutter. Not a good, expensive one. Those flat ones that have the little plastic around, and they're kind of long and they're flat, and you just slide up the blade like this. Yeah, one of those box cutters. He cuts the man's back end of his pants and his underwear, and you see butt cheek. He reaches in between that butt cheek, right underneath it, and pulls out his man thing. And I said, what in the shit am I looking at? And he holds the box cutter, and he holds the thing, and he went like that, and I went, whoop, I flipped it. I didn't want to see it. That was as much as I needed to see. I would have never thought in a million years that another man would cut off another man's thing. Never. Never. Because we know how men are very protective of their stuff. Now, I was like, oh my God. Then I was scrolling somewhere, and I was reading an article where a Ukraine, I can't remember if it was a doctor or a general or somebody, was telling the men that they needed to capture the Russian soldiers, bring them to the hospital so they could medically be castrated, because the Ukraine does not want Russians to go back home and produce more Russian children. And then he claimed, oh, they never did it. They never acted on it. Oh, they didn't say that. I mean, I've been reading that. But then you see that video. I would have never thought in a million years. So don't tell me that none of this stuff could possibly be real, because I'm telling you, I'm finding shit I would have never thought in a million years. How many of you right now would have never thought in a million years that someone would kidnap someone's child, torture it to the point that the child begged for you to kill it, and drained its blood out and drank it? How many of you would have thought about that when you were 5 years old? How many of you knew about this your whole life? Well, you probably did if you were satanic and you lived in that type of atmosphere. But how many of you? So don't tell me that these things are not possible, that it's all fake, because I would have told you 20 years ago killing a child and drinking its blood was fake. I would have told you that. I'd have said, you're crazy. Who would do that? No one's that evil. I'd have told you that 20 years ago. I'd have told you that 30 years ago. Today, I will tell someone, you need to do some more research, because you got to see this. You've got to understand what's really going on. Do you understand where I'm going? Now, people 20, 30 years ago, if I would have told them that, would have told me I was crazy and would have put me in a hospital. And that's happened to many people. They've been put in hospitals and given drugs to make them shut up, to calm them down. It's happened over and over. There's a movie that Mel Gibson was in, and I want to say it was called Conspiracy Theory. And he was talking about all this crazy stuff, and they made him look like he was losing his mind. And the whole time it's because he experienced this stuff. He saw it. And the bad guys didn't want him to remember and tell people. And they were trying to capture him to shut him the freak back up. So think about this stuff. You want to fight with someone because they believe the earth is flat. You want to fight with someone because they believe in Bigfoot. You joke and you make fun of them. But if you told somebody about children being tortured and their blood being drunk, you would have been laughed and ridiculed at. So how dare you, you hypocrite, pick on these people? I'm not saying they're right. And I'm not saying you're right. What I'm saying is, shut up. Stop it. Quit saying that they're interfering with the movement. They need psychiatric help. Because the same thing would have been told to you, and probably is being told to you when you talk to your friends and family about these things that you're looking up. Okay? How many of you believe that Joe Biden is dead? How many? How many of you go off and tell your friends and family and your coworkers or strangers? And how many of them look at you and tell you you're crazy? But you know in your heart that he's dead, because you can see the mask peeling right here. Just flipping. See? My skin is not peeling like that. That is not normal. See? There's nothing normal about skin all the way around your face that's a different color underneath sticking out. That's a mask. Now you can say I'm crazy all you want. That's a friggin' mask, people. It's a mask. And I can show you 9 million videos of people that wear masks and look completely different. I'm telling you, that's a mask. Now, you want to call me a liar, that's your prerogative. You can. I don't care. But what I'm saying is, how many of you try to tell that to other people and they tell you you're crazy? But yet you turn around and tell someone who believes in flat earth, they're crazy. You turn around and tell someone who believes in the Bigfoot, they're crazy. Quit being hypocrites, people. Just stop it. There's no prize for being right. There's no prize. We are not going to come to your house with 5 million balloons and a band and a big friggin' cake that says, you were right, you won. What the hell is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you? Oh, go ahead and tell me I'm a witch. Go ahead and tell me I'm evil. Go ahead, tell me. I don't care. You know why? It doesn't friggin' matter. It doesn't matter. Do you take care of me? Do you pay my bills? Do you feed me? No, you don't. So why do I care what you think? I don't. You can either take this information and it can wake you up inside and make your brain spark, or you can friggin' change the channel and quit listening to me. Because it doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, quit picking on people. Stop it. Just stop it. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they've seen. You don't know what they've experienced. How many times have you had a nightmare and it was so freaking real to you, and you try to tell somebody, to say, well, that you watch too much TV. Well, you know you had the nightmare. And here's this person not even caring. They're telling you because you watch too much TV. It's like our egos are so big. And this was done on purpose, right? Okay, you have to understand that. If you look at the 7 deadly sins, pride is one of them. Okay? This just means you're full of yourself. And all of us, even I had been that way a little bit at certain points in time. Let it go. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why does it matter? Why is it important for you to pull out your Bible and to throw quotes at somebody? Does it matter? Does it matter? And you're say, oh, I need to save them. Why? Why do you feel like you need to save somebody? What if that person is actually saving you? Did you ever think about that? Does it matter? So what I'm getting at is there are so many different scenarios to so many things that are going on. And I don't believe that there's one person that's completely right, and I don't believe that there are people that are just completely wrong. I may not agree with a lot of things that are being said, and I may put my 2 cents in. But you don't have to believe me. You don't. Just like I don't have to believe you. You can't force me to believe you, because then if that's the way you think, you are just like the bad guys. Because that's what the bad guys do. They force you to believe in their ways. And if you don't, they tax the shit out of you to make you believe. They make your life a living hell to make you believe until you comply. And then once you comply, they let off. Is that what you're going to do to me because I don't believe the way you think? Are you going to force me? Are you going to come over here and put a gun to my head and tell me that's the way I have to believe? Period. You are not in charge of my body. You are not in charge of my soul. Just like I'm not in charge of anybody else's body or soul on here. My purpose is to bring people to the light, to wake you up. My truth may be different than your truth. But if I made you think, and I made the sparks go off in your brain like the 4th of July, and you're like, wait a second, let me look into that. That's all I had to do. That is all I had to do. Doesn't mean you got to believe it. Just means you have to look into it. And I highly recommend that you start listening to these other people's stories and entertain the fact that there might be more to the story than you ever imagined. Maybe there's a lot more to it. We know we've been lied to. We know there's a lot of shady things that have been going on for a very long time. You have to ask yourself, what was the purpose of lying to us? Why does, when someone takes over a country, why do they have to destroy what the other leader did? Why does all the monuments have to be destroyed? Why do all the books have to be burned? And then everything be rewritten? That's so you forget what you learned. And you only know what they want you to know. Look at what's going on in our country right now. This is where your focus really should be. Look at what's going on right now. We've got people that claim to be multisexual attracted, or I don't know. I'm surprised someone hasn't said that they claim to be a tree or a friggin' poison ivy branch yet. You got people, let's use the cat. You've got people sending their children to schools, and the children consider themselves cats. That teachers and school districts now have to put litter boxes in classrooms, so if that student needs to go to the bathroom, they can use the litter box in front of all the other students in that classroom. This is going on, people, and you're worried about if the earth is flat. You're worried about if someone's seen a Bigfoot. This is what you're really worried about. And that doesn't matter. What matters is what's going on in that classroom right now. Why does your students or your children have to watch another student take a crap in a litter box? Why do other children have to meow back to another student because they consider themselves a cat? Why does your child have to deal with that? Why does your grandchild, why does your niece or nephew have to deal with that? Can you explain that one to me? Why aren't you fighting that battle? Why aren't you trying to wake up people and stop that stuff from going on? But yet, your main purpose in life is to prove that the earth is round. To prove that there's no Bigfoot. And to make fun and ridicule people over something that doesn't friggin' matter. What matters is our children's future. That's what matters. Because you're going to get older. You're going to need someone to come check on you, make sure that you've had dinner. But if they think they're cats, do you think this cat is going to take care of me when I get older? No. Now, it may defend me if someone breaks in. It might claw them or something, but I mean, it's not going to get up, open up a refrigerator, fry me something to eat on a skillet, put it on a plate and come bring it to me. This cat is not going to do it. So if a child thinks they're a cat, do you actually think that child's going to do that? No, they're going to be too busy using the litter box and napping in the windowsill. Right? That's the children of the future. And you're worried about Bigfoot and flat earth. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? You people drive me crazy with this stuff. I sit there and I go through room to room and I see these arguments on things that doesn't matter. And what matters, you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about the transgenders that are stripping practically in front of children and little 5-year-olds putting $5 bills in their G-string. But yet you want to argue about flat earth. You want to argue about Bigfoot. Are you freaking kidding me? Really? Really? Also, you can get that badge of honor, and so people can celebrate your name and hell, Mr. Blah, 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 who was right about flat earth, and put Mr. Blah, blah, blah down. You showed him. Congratulations. You are now the king of the right. What the hell? Really? Is that what you want? You want people to celebrate, put the wreath in your yard so you can stand around and march. I was right about the round earth and I'm telling everybody. But you don't give a shit about transgenders. Teaching students. You don't care about children who think they're cats shitting in litter boxes. You care about making sure people don't believe in flat earth. That is your main goal. You're freaking crazy. You're crazy. Look at yourself in the mirror. Ask yourself, oh my God, she's right. I really need to get off that and say, okay, Bob, that is wonderful information. Thank you so much for presenting that. But let's get on another issue that's something that maybe we can control. Maybe something we can fix. Maybe something that we can change. Like, let's figure out how to get children to quit thinking they're cats and shitting in litter boxes. That's more important. Because this we can control. This we can fix. No. And I watch you all the time do this stuff. You're freaking crazy. You're freaking crazy. So yeah, I went there. I said it. It needed to be said. And I did it. You know why? Because I don't give a shit if you like me or not. I don't. Like I said, you're not taking care of me. You're not paying my bills. You're not making sure I have anything to eat. You're not checking on me to make sure my health is okay. You're not. Because your purpose in life is to convince people that the earth is still round and that they're crazy. That is your main purpose in life. And I don't know what good that's going to do. Because when the truth comes out, it's going to be what it is. It's going to be what it is, whether you like it or not. And then what are you going to do if you're wrong? What are you going to do if you're wrong? Why argue about it? I've just told you there's so many crazy things going on. I don't know. There's convincing evidence that the earth is flat. And then there's some evidence that may make me think that the earth is still round. But I don't know. But it doesn't matter. That's why I don't talk about it all the time. Because it doesn't matter. But do I think people need to hear both sides of the story? And the answer is yes, you do. Because you have to make up your own mind what you want to believe. Because what you believe is your truth. It's not my truth. I can't tell you what to believe. I can show you the evidence. I can explain it. But in the end, you have to make your decision. You do it. Not Bob, not Joe, not Mary, not Sally. They can't tell you what to believe because if they do, they're the bad guys. Because that's exactly what our governments have been doing to us for ages, telling us what we are going to believe, telling us what we are going to do. And if we don't believe it and we don't do it, we're punished for it. So what makes you different than the bad guys? So stop it. Stop arguing with people. And if they are a little out there, and I do believe there's some that are really out there, and I feel bad for them, and I keep them in the back of my mind, dear Jesus, please help this person. Because I don't know, were they attacked? Maybe, just maybe they were in the military. Maybe they were tortured. And maybe somebody wore a furry outfit and beat the shit out of them. And because they had LSD injected in their body, they hallucinated and they believed it was Bigfoot killing them. So now they're scared of Bigfoot. I don't know. Is that the truth? Possible. Anything's possible. Anything's freaking possible. So quit saying, were you there? Were you the person wearing the Bigfoot outfit beating the guy up? Were you the one injecting the LSD in the person? I don't know. Were you there? No, you weren't. So how can you say he didn't experience it? How can you say he didn't see what he saw? That's all I'm getting at, people. That's all I'm getting at. Start being more kind. Start. Okay, you don't like it? It's fine. Or say something and then leave it alone. Just let it go. Let it go. Stop it. You're saying people that are talking about this or that are interrupting the movement. Well, what about you? Are you causing chaos and friction in the movement with your continuously having to be right? Who made you the leader of the movement? Who put you in charge of that chat room saying that you are the only one that can tell everybody if they're wrong or right? Who did that? Did God do that for you? Did God tell you that? Because God didn't tell me that. You know what God told me? He told me to wake people up. He told me to help them get to the light, to help them remember who they are. God told me to get clean. Then he told me to remember herbs. Okay? That's what God told me. And God doesn't sit down and have a long conversation with me. Now, he may sit down and have long conversations with these other people who say that they speak to God, and they may talk in all these long riddles, but that's not how God speaks to me. It's direct, it's short, and it's to the point. I don't believe that God walks in a room, grabs a Coca-Cola out the refrigerator and sits down, and then the two of you go out and have lunch or whatever, or go for long car rides. I can't listen to them. Now, I can't say that's not what's happening, and I can't. I just can't listen to it because that's not what's happening with me. Now, it's not to say that God talks to them that way, because maybe that's how they want to be talked to. Me, I like direct, simple. Tell me what I got to do, and then I'll do it. So I don't like these long out riddles. And he said that the moon would pass past the clouds. And then in the past, this tree would grow and this bluebird would fly from it. And then he said, my people will be free. That's not how God talks to me. But maybe that's how he talks to other people. And that's fine. I don't want God to talk to me like that, because I would be like, God, what does that have to do with freeing any people? Why do I need to know that the sun is going to be here and this bluebird? I mean, are you telling me to look for bluebirds? Because I don't understand what that means. Does that mean that the bird has to move from the tree because the people are going to come over there and cut it down? What does this mean? I don't like that. So that's not how God talks to me. God just says, okay, like today, God said direct. Okay, I'm being direct. That's how God talks to me. I like it that way. I don't like this complicated riddle stuff. If I want to do riddles, I'll play riddles. But if I need to do something, you tell me what I got to do. Because I'm not in the kung fu movies, young grasshopper. That's not me. I don't want to be talked to like that. I don't want to be treated that way. I'm too intelligent. Tell me direct. And that's how I am. And that's how I get my messages. Because God speaks to people differently. But I can't listen to these other people that say they hear God and they talk like that, because it drives me cuckoo. Because I don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense to me. But do I get over there and hound them down and say God didn't talk to them? Do I go knock on their door? Do I have to be right? No, I don't have to be right. Because I'm smart enough to know, and I'm enlightened enough to know, that God speaks to people differently. God talks to who is ready to hear his words. So you can't tell me that God's not talking to me, because he's not talking to you. All I'm going to say is maybe you're not listening. Maybe he is talking to you, but you don't hear it because you don't want to, because you're not ready. So with this being said, you are no better than anybody else, just like I am better than no one else. I haven't lived your life. I haven't been through the things that you've been through. I have not experienced the things that you have. With you, the same with me. You haven't been through what I've been through. You haven't seen the things that I have seen, felt the way I have felt. You don't know anything about me except what I want you to know about me. So quit judging people. Quit it. Because that is not where we're going in the future. In the future, we're going to be completely done with ego and pride and being selfish. We're going to stop it, because that's not what's going to heal this planet. And if you can't be that way, then you will not ascend. And that just means learning, okay? People think when they say ascend, they think about floating up and flying around like you're going to be a bird or something. That's not what ascending is. Every time you wake up, something else in your brain turns on, like someone turned a switch on. And then you're like, I never noticed that before. Oh my gosh, I can finally figure out this trigonometry. I didn't understand it, but now I can. That's what I mean. So ascending just means you're going to the next level spiritually, which could be intellectually, where things that you didn't understand finally make sense to you. That's ascending, people. It's not floating in the sky. It's not being above anyone and looking down at people. That's not what it means to ascend. You are becoming smarter. You're becoming more aware around your surroundings, and you're starting to understand things that you never understood before. So people that are ascending talk a little different than other people, because we see things differently. Does not mean that you won't get there. It just means that you haven't gotten there yet. You're either holding on to this 3D matrix life because you're comfortable here, or you're just not ready to accept it. And that's fine. Everybody's at a different level. Just because I'm here and you're only here, but there's people down here, doesn't make any of us any better than anyone else. And I don't treat anyone beneath me, except if you're someone who likes to kill animals and children, then I will consider you beneath me. But I don't think anybody in this chat room does that, and I hope that nobody in any chat room does that. So please understand this. I do not think I'm better than anyone. I may see things differently than you. I may know a little bit more than you. But it doesn't mean I'm better. It just means that I need to try to wake you up. And the way that you do it is you lead people to the knowledge. And then you say, there it is. There's your buffet. Enjoy. Because I can tell you all day long that this is a cell phone and it's turned off. I can. But do you believe that it's turned off? Do you believe this is a cell phone? Does it matter? You have to do your own research and figure it out. So the lesson today that I want everybody to understand, number one, you're no better than anyone else. Quit thinking that, because that's what's holding you back from knowledge. As soon as you realize that you need that crazy guy talking about Bigfoot just as much as he needs you, then you've started to ascend. You've started to see things the way you're supposed to. Jesus, when he was here, he was already at this frequency, okay? That's where teacher was. He was way up here. I'm not even close to where he is. But my goal is to every day become more and more like him, to get where he was. It does not mean I want to be Jesus or I think I'm Jesus. It just means that he is my teacher. He is my inspiration. And I need to listen to what he was saying and hear it with my ears completely open and my eyes completely open, and open my mind, because that's what Jesus wanted. And when you do that, you start to move up higher. But there'll always be one Jesus. None of us will ever be Jesus. But it doesn't mean you can't try to be as close to Jesus as possible. And that should be your main goal every day when you wake up. You should ask God, "Dear Lord, please forgive me for any sins that I may commit that I did not know that I was committing. And I am so sorry. I want to be a better person. Please open my eyes and show me things so I know better, so I understand what I'm doing or what I'm about to do. And I want to every day, Lord, please let me get closer to Jesus. Let me understand his teachings. Let me be more like Jesus. This is the goal that I have in my life. Thank you, Lord." Something like that every day is what you should be saying. It shouldn't be, "Today, please let Bob go in the chat room and talk about Bigfoot again because I love making fun of him. It makes me so happy to call Bob an idiot. Thank you for all the gifts that everybody sends me for picking on Bob." That should not be your goal. If that's your goal, you've got some issues, and you really need to meditate on that. Okay? You really do. Quit being hateful. We're all connected. This little cat, I'm connected to it. You know how I'm connected to it? Because this cat's main purpose is to give love. And when she gives off her positive energy and her love, it calms me down. Now, could she live without me? And the possibility is yes. Could I live without her? Yes. But together, we're better. You understand? So when you start thinking about Bob and his Bigfoot, Bob might have some funny stories, and Bob may have had something traumatic happen to him. We don't know. But we're not going to make fun of Bob. But what I'm saying is, Bob can bring some joy to you because you can laugh at some of these stories. And you can appreciate Bob for having the courage to talk about it. He's putting himself out there. He knows people are going to call him names and ridicule. But Bob feels like he needs to tell you these things. So give Bob a hand for being who he is, for being Bob, the Bigfoot storyteller. Embrace Bob and say, "Thank you so much, Bob, for your insights on Bigfoot. I appreciate these stories. And I want to say thank you, Bob, for being you." Why is that so hard? Okay, and if you get tired of listening to Bob, then either tell Bob, "Bob, as much as I enjoy these stories, I think maybe we could talk about something else. Is there something else that we can talk about? How about what led you to get into the military?" And change Bob's thinking. Get Bob off the subject of Bigfoot and put him on a different subject and let him start talking about something different. You lead people into getting off these subjects instead of ridiculing. Bob, when you were growing up, did anybody in your family, were they in the military? What led you to even consider that? Tell me a little bit more about your childhood, Bob. Get Bob off the subject. And eventually Bob will get tired of talking. And guess what? You've moved off that subject and you're on to something else. And then other people can bring in their stories and their adventures. And before you know it, Bob is having a normal conversation with you. And he's not mentioning Bigfoot. Unless you bring something up that puts him back on that subject. Which if you're very careful and not to use trigger words, Bob may never mention Bigfoot in that conversation. Till maybe tomorrow. That's all I'm saying. Treat people with respect. You're not in Bob's shoes. You don't know anything about him. So now that we've talked about this subject, we've gone there. Do you understand what the mission was today? I'm not saying any of you are evil. I'm not saying any of you are bad. I'm saying you need to take a deeper look into yourself. What makes you do these things? What makes you pick on people? And when you figure that out, then you've ascended. Then you've grown up. Then you've become more enlightened. You become more like Jesus. Because Jesus wouldn't pick on Bob. You know what Jesus would do? He would go over there and just hug Bob. Bob, you need a hug. That's what Jesus would do. Can you do that? Can you hug Bob? Can you accept Bob? Maybe you should try. It'll make you feel better. I guess you'll get more awards for loving Bob and accepting Bob than you will for hating Bob and making fun of Bob. Are those the friends that you really want in your life? A bunch of negative, hating, picking on people? Because that's all it is. Negativity surrounds itself with more negativity, and it gets worse until it eats you up, until you get sick, till you get a cold, till you get where you can't sleep, till your teeth start falling out. That's negativity. That's negativity. And picking on Bob is a negative act. That's bringing hate, meanness. It's stupid. Just stop it. Just stop it. Open your minds up to the possibility of other things. Become a better person. Strive to be more like Jesus. Quit picking on people because they don't think like you. Quit telling people they're wrong because there's a possibility it's probably you that's wrong. But understand that everybody here has a different job. Everybody here has a different story. Everybody here has been through different stuff. And there's no way that you can experience everything that everyone else has been through. You can understand it. You can feel their pain, but you need to stop it. You just need to stop it. So this is my calling all of you out on this. Like it or not, I went there. And I hope that many of you appreciate it. I hope many of you now understand more. And I hope many of you will strive to become a better person, because that's what you're supposed to do. Become a better person. This is a learning experience for all of us. If we're going to have a better world and we're going to get it right, the first thing we need to do is stop being hateful purposely for laughs and giggles, because you're really not winning a prize. You're really not. Not in God's eyes. God's just shaking his head doing this at you when you pick on Bob. He's like, Bob's my child. Why are you picking on my child? I love Bob. Why would you hate on Bob? Bob's a good person. Bob gives to the animal shelter every Monday. Okay? Do you know that about Bob? Well, did you ever ask Bob? Bob goes out, and when he sees someone starving, Bob feeds my other children. You know? I've seen Bob help old people cross the street. Now, Bob may like Bigfoot. Bob may consider that he's had dinner with Bigfoot. But Bob does good things for other people. But you don't know that because you've never asked Bob anything else. You just picked on Bob. So why would you do that? What if Bob is a great person who has an experience with Bigfoot that disturbs him? I don't know. But let's stop it. Let's just stop it. I hope that you have a wonderful day today. I hope that you've taken something from this. I hope this has inspired you to become a better person. You don't have to believe everything you hear. You don't have to believe everything that you read. But open your mind that there are possibilities out there, and do know that we've been lied to about so much stuff. It's hard to tell what's the truth and what's not the truth. But if you don't at least listen to all these other stories, when the truth comes out, you're going to be shocked. You may not be able to handle the shock. It might give you a stroke. It might give you a heart attack. But at least if you've listened to this stuff and you file it in the back of your head and it comes out to be true, you're going to be like, oh my God, it was true. Better than, really? Which one do you want? Do you want the, or do you want the dying? Me, I want the, oh my God, it's true. That's what I want. And that's what I want for you, and you. So stop it. Stop being hateful. Okay? I will most probably try to do a live maybe tomorrow. If anybody would be interested in having a live where you can ask questions or talk about subjects, or maybe we can just chit-chat about nothing. Or maybe there's something that you really want to ask and you've been afraid to ask other people. I don't judge. I don't judge. You can ask me anything. And if I don't know the answer, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to research it for you, and I'm going to find it. Or I'm going to ask God. and see what I get that way. But I'm not picking on people. I'm not going to make fun of you. Unless you say something that's really funny, then I'm going to laugh. Because I'm a human still. I strive to be better, but I am a human. So let me know and get back with me. Remember, you can find me on Telegram, or you can find my Crystals and More page, Jackie's Crystals and More on Facebook. If you're interested in seeing any crystals or jewelry, or is there something that you are looking for, or if you just want to ask about herbal remedies, something, you know, like you have a headache and you want to know what I recommend, or is there any way I can make you up something to help you, I will. Okay? If you're interested in a card reading, or you just want to talk and ask questions, please reach out to me. That's what I want to do. I want to help. I hope that this has brought some laughter to you. I hope that this has woken you up a little bit, and I hope that you look at people differently now, because that's what you're supposed to do. This is the Great Awakening, people. Wake up. Right. Have a great one. Bye-bye.